Welcome back. This is George joining us. You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. A quick reminder of our top stories. Former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar promises to reorder Nigeria's security architecture as he formally declares his intention to contest the presidency in 2019. Goods said to be worth millions of naira destroyed as fire guts Terminus Market in Jos, Plateau State. Operations declare Apapa Gridlock commences, following order by the federal government to restore normalcy to the area within 72 hours. And Zimbabwe's President Emerson Mnangagwa preaches racial unity ahead of historic elections on July the 30th, promises white farmers land security. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you. And on YouTube.com/channelsweb, you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news and updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share us pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. We'll move on to Plateau State, where an early morning fire destroyed shops and warehouses at the popular Terminus Market in Jos Metropolis today. The spokesperson of the Plateau State Police Command, Matthias Yopev, who confirmed the incident to Channels Television, said that the fire was extreme as several properties were burnt to ashes. He, however, could not sustain the value of goods lost to the fire. It's not the first time that the market is experiencing such a disaster, where goods estimated to be running into millions of naira were destroyed.
It was a gloomy start to the weekend for traders at the Jos Terminus Market after hundreds of shops and warehouses got completely burned in the early hours of Saturday. Goods worth millions are thought to have been destroyed, although the state authorities are yet to put a value to the losses in a section of the market selling cosmetics, clothing, household wares, plastic, hair extension and other accessories. Eyewitnesses say the section of the market that was spared from the horrific flames got lucky because of the timely call to the fire service and the police.
We are liaising with the chairman of the market so that we identify those who suffered losses here. We're also liaising with the fire service still so that we'll be able to know the probable cause of the fire.
The fire service has done much to contain the situation. You can see that the market is large and they salvage the situation by their prompt response.
Names of traders affected by the fire are being compiled as many still try to salvage whatever they can.
In the single store here, there's a single person that lost more than many millions. So for me to set the total amount now, it won't be easy for me.
The Jos Terminus Market was also gutted by fire as far back as 2002. Many who lost their means of livelihood are reported to still be struggling, the part affected yet to be rebuilt, leaving the latest victims to wonder if they will suffer the same fate.
The evacuation of trucks and other articulated vehicles stranded along the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway in Lagos has begun in compliance with the directive from the Vice President. Professor Osinbajo had on Friday paid an unscheduled visit to the area following the forceful occupation of the entire stretch of the highway for more than 3 days now. He says that the federal government will find a lasting solution to the gridlock and other infrastructure challenges in the area. He, however, directed the commencement of a 72-hour joint operation that will involve the military, police and other law enforcement agencies to restore order to Apapa and its environs. He also instructed the ministries, departments and agencies involved to speed up the decongestion of the ports. Well, let's take the story a notch further. The gridlock caused by the tanker drivers along the country's major ports in the last 3 days obviously has a ripple effect on the country's economy and the lives of those living in the area. Our next report examines the actions required of government and other key players concerning the state of the road, the space for trucks and threats to the safety of residents.
Apapa and Tinkan Island ports are both located in Lagos State, the commercial hub of Nigeria, and are judged the busiest ports of the country. The provisional figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics from 2013 to 2016 puts the total number of vessels in and out of the ports at 19,833 in 3 years. Similarly, the document states that 544 million tons of goods were registered within the period under review. With these increased activities, trucks invasion was experienced a few days ago in the state, making it the first time that motorists from a solo area of the state to Ilasa, Inward Sele, Mile 2, Rainbow and Apapa axis to experience a total lockdown of all vehicular movement at the same time for several hours. Motorists attribute some of the causes of this gridlock on the roads to bad roads, poor traffic management, lack of parking space and unethical road use by truck and tanker drivers.
Traffic is so much on this area. From Sele to Apapa, we can't even move. If they shut down the bridge, what's the alternative? There's supposed to be an alternative.
But following his unscheduled visit to the port on Friday, the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo directed a 72-hour joint operation to restore order in Apapa and its environs and improve vehicular movement. The duties paid on cargoes leaving the ports totaled about ₦1 trillion in 2017. If the ongoing congestion at the ports continue, this may impact negatively on this figure, thereby reducing customs revenue targets for the year.
Joining us on the news at 10 for a broader perspective on the Apapa gridlock is a Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Sector Commander, Mr. Hyginus Major. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10 at this time. This is a very worrying situation. Already the Vice President has given an order to clear all the trucks and vehicles along that route, of course, and leading up to the ports within 72 hours. Yeah. We're talking about well over 3,000 trucks now.
Yeah.
Is this feasible, 72 hours? Can the authorities achieve that?
Yes, it's very much possible. With what we have put in place now, let me just give you what we have, the foundation of what we've done, that you can see that we can realize that. On Wednesday, when we noticed that the Commissioner of Police summoned an emergency meeting of all the security agencies and all the traffic management agencies in Lagos State. And we had the first meeting on that Wednesday. By Thursday, we had to broaden it up and bring in the union officials also. Lagos State government officials were also there. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transportation, Lagos, were all there. And it was like, okay, all the stakeholders are complete. What can we do? So what we've decided to do, and that was when we came up with that Operation Restore Sanity on Lagos roads. And that Operation Restore Sanity is multi-agency approach. It's not about looking at which agency is responsible for this or not. All of us, we are all synergizing, the military, everybody, and all the unions, as I said. Now, what we've decided is every available holding bay, whether it's a private holding bay or a government holding bay or a concessionaire holding bay, will just move in these trucks in there. Now, we are appealing to all this with the Commissioner of Police wrote to the owners of those holding bay to bear with us. This is an ad hoc thing for us to be able to at least unlock.
You mean the bays that were concessioned?
Yes, yes. Even the places that were concessioned. We have to. This is the time they have to show that Nigerian spirit. It's all about the overriding interest of the public. The Nigerian interest is at stake here. Because if anything, if you lock down Apapa, you lock down Lagos, you have locked down the economy of this country. So we just have to do what we are doing now. We are moving in these trucks in all these holding bays, and we're also partnering with the shipping companies, telling them to also join hands with us. We drop these containers there in those places. Then the moment we drop, you leave the Lagos immediately. So there's no need of waiting until you get to the port. We drop all those containers there. We're making use of Lily Pond. I was in Lily Pond this afternoon all through the day today. About 124 containers have already been stacked.
But have you engaged the owners of the holding bays to get their acceptance to house those vehicles for now?
We are talking. I remember that in Michelle, they are even the one that opened up their place for us. So there is really collaboration coming from everybody. We are also engaging more on private holding bay operators. Like I said, it's not as if anybody is taking over your facility, so to say, forcefully from you. It's just that this is a national emergency, so to say. The Vice President has given us directive, and we cannot go back on that directive. We must just actualize it. It's an executive order that must be carried out, and all hands must be on deck to achieve this.
You know, all of a sudden, one wonders that all these trucks and tankers, all of a sudden they just flooded Lagos. Where have they been all this while?
They have always been there. Remember that Apapa traffic is not something of yesterday. We have been battling this thing over and over. And the issue is that, let us be honest here, I think the problem is that we created these problems ourselves as Nigerians.
We did? How?
How? This is the only industry where somebody will be going into his private business and he's looking onto government to provide him the facilities that he's going to use to do his private business. The day you want to go into logistics, into haulage, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, if I buy this truck, where am I going to park it? Trucks are not meant to be parked on roads. You must have a park, you must have a holding bay where this truck is going to go in. And from there, if you have business, your truck will move from that place into the port and pick that in, drop it for your customer and come back to your port. Not for you to go and occupy bridges and roads built with taxpayers' money as your, it's not correct.
Hopefully in 72 hours' time, we'll have all of that sorted out.
We will.
But another concern, as we did here in one of our reports leading up to this discussion, someone asked that, are there alternatives, especially considering that the third mainland bridge is expected to be closed?
Alternative to route?
Yes, especially say to Victoria Island, for instance, even to Apapa itself.
I am optimistic that before 26th that we are going to close the third mainland bridge for that dynamic test that they're going to carry out on the bridge. Remember, everything is just borrowing on the safety of lives and properties still. Even the third mainland bridge that you are referring to is about the integrity of the bridge. We just make sure that, we have to make sure that if people are also plying there, that they are safe to ply there. But between now and then, I'm sure that what we have in place is going to really unlock it. But whereby if it is not unlocked, there is no sacrosanct thing about. We keep on discussing. I tried to reach the controller of works this evening to see, look at all this in this right perspective. If it continues like this, what is the next step? Can we shift? Can we not shift? But I am optimistic because I don't put my hand into something and you think you are not going to achieve it. All of us are as an agency working together, that what we have in place today is going to really unlock it.
Are these tankers and trucks, are they reluctant to use authorized bays at the moment?
Come again.
Are they encouraged,
yes,
the tankers and the trucks, to use authorized bays, holding bays for them?
Yeah, the truth is that from the very day you even open a tank farm, let's look at the tankers also, the very day you open a tank farm, you are expected to have a holding bay that can house nothing less than at least 100 tankers. As they come in, they load and they go out. In this same manner, if you are into dry cargo, you are also expected to have your own holding bay where your trucks will go in. The problem we have now is that these tank farms do not have sufficient holding bay for what they are handling per day. Some of them will really clock in or call up more than what their holding bay.
How many holding bays do we have?
In Apapa alone, in Lagos, we have over, for now, we are covering in our tank farm this, we have over 60.
That's a good place to let it rest. Yes. I want to thank you so much indeed, Mr. Hyginus Omeje. He's the Lagos Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Many thanks indeed for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
When the News at 10 returns, Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee set to hold its third rate decision meeting with this year as the Bureau of Statistics releases Nigeria's June inflation figures next week. Join us again